Yo, yo, yo. What's the deal? It's the boy headquarters tapping back in with y'all with another one. Uh Today, man, shit on this one, man, we about to be reacting to a Instagram video that I thought was kind of interesting. Let's play it real quick. Hold on. Hold on.
Do you know that if Black America was a country?
Hold on, let's go back. Listen.
Do you know that if Black America was a country, it is the 15th most powerful country in the world? When you look at narrative control and you're thinking about what the solutions are, I told people, like in my audience, I said, I have a particular philosophy that is quite different when it comes to Pan-Africanism and the bridge to Africa from Black America. You see, there's something that Black Americans don't realize. They have a spending power of $1.8 trillion a year. Revolving, that is annual recurring power. Do you know that if Black America was a country, it is the 15th most powerful country in the world? Do you know the only country is more powerful than a Black America? If we're talking about the United States of Black America, America, Britain, China, Russia, Brazil, Japan, Australia, Mexico, South Korea, France, and Italy. Do you know that Saudi Arabia isn't as powerful as Black America? Black America, the United States of Black America, is more powerful than any country in Africa, all countries in South America except Mexico and Brazil, all the countries in the Middle East except what am I missing? There's no Middle East country as a whole that's more. So when you understand that, this is the trick. The trick is getting Black America to believe they need to ask for anything. They don't need to ask for anything. My belief is that when you have that kind of power, the trick is making you think you don't.
All right, y'all. So y'all heard that, right? So, I mean, that statistic is something that's not new. You know what I'm saying? That's not like brand spanking new, breaking news type. If you do the research on that's a true, you know what I'm saying, that's a true number. But the thing about it is, Black America got power, and we do have 1.8 trillion spending power, but we got all the power, but we're not using it correctly. That's the problem. We got all this power, but we're not allocating all these funds, in the right direction. We're not spending in the right direction on the right things. Spending it on frivolous things, trying to keep up cars, clothes, houses. Well, now I can say houses, cars, clothes, jewelry, leisure type things. I'm not in agreement, but I'm in agreement with the overall sentiment of what the commenter or what the guy's talking about. But we have to learn how to allocate those funds in the proper way. Spend that money properly. Group economics. Spend with one another, but to get to that level, there's a basis, there's a foundational level that we must reach first before we even able to get to that level of spending with each other, of building with each other. We have to have foundational shit together before we even can spend money with one another. We don't have trust amongst one another. You feel me? We it's a lot of backbiting going on. It's a lot of disloyalty going on. It's a lot of, it's a lot of pocket watching going on. It's just a lot of, negativity and a lot of, deviant and devilish behavior that goes on within the community that doesn't get talked about. You feel me? There's no more, there's no more checks and balance system that like we used to have back in the day. So a lot of this, it's like the wild, wild west out here right now. A lot of this shit that's going on is just free, free will, it's just willy-nilly out here now. People doing all type of shit, and people doing people any kind of way. There's no more respect for one another. There's pockets of different movements and things of that nature. I'm not gonna say it's not, it's non-existent, but on a grand scheme, on a grand scale, in general, in masses, that's not what I see. I see a lot of faking it. I see a lot of faking the funk like there's some type of unity. I see a lot of faking the funk like there's some type of empowerment. But a lot of that should be backed by selfish agendas or selfish motivation. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think if we get on a foundational level, we can understand, I don't know, man. It's gonna take. I don't see it happen. To be honest, I don't see it happening. That's another thing. I don't see it happening in our lifetime. I don't ever see it. I don't see Black America coming together. You feel me? And with a real movement. I don't see it happening. Not in our lifetime. And movements like the civil rights movement and people of those times. The Malcolm X's, Stokely Carmichael's, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, Martin Luther King, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just saying, if take away the the nuances of the individual. I'm just saying the movement like that, pushing towards unity and pushing towards pushing our people in the right direction. I don't see those type of movements ever coming about. Not in our lifetime. I just don't see it. So that's the first thing. You feel me? It's gonna take for us to get on a foundational level of understanding amongst one another to be able to even take that money and allocate it in the proper direction. Because if you splintered off as a nation, so if we're a nation within a nation and we're splintered off, with all these different ideologies, how could we ever come? What are we gonna come together under? To pull all this money and insert in the right directions. That's the first thing we got to do is get some type of understanding with each other on a foundational level that we are all under the same umbrella, under the same ideology. No leaders. I don't think we need leaders per se. We need ideology. You know what I'm saying? I've said that in another video. We need ideology. We need people to come together under one ideology, under a common goal, common ground. And once we're able to do that, then we can start allocating these funds. Then we could talk about allocating this 1.8 trillion spending power in the right direction. Also, because you gotta cut back on spending on frivolous shit. You gotta start building businesses and in your community, and not even just in your community, but building businesses that are under this umbrella, connecting with like-minded individuals or people that's in this same coalition or this whatever umbrella we're calling this, whatever common ground we're calling this. We start building businesses and we start sharing information and sharing resources and sharing money with each other, going to support one another, and just group economics essentially, right? So, but we got to get the foundational levels together first. Because I've always said that, Black America is a nation within a nation, but we don't have our own shit together in house. In house is so fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like our in house business is so fucked up. Our in house checks and balance system is so fucked up. It's like we climbing up a steep hill, man. So, That's number one. Number two, like, just piggybacking off that topic, it's like we got 1.8 trillion, spending power. I think an add-on to that would be we gotta start gatekeeping our culture. You get what I'm saying? Like, gatekeeping it in a way where, yeah, people can enjoy our culture. People can, they could, like our culture and things of that nature. But there has to be, other cultures have checks and balance systems. You feel me? So even if you're an outsider coming into somebody else's culture, you're not allowed to just do certain shit. You're not allowed to just get away with certain shit. So we need to bring back the checks and balance system, not even just for our culture, but just amongst our people as well. Amongst our culture, for people that want to come in and be a part of the culture or want to add to, you know what I'm saying? It needs to be a checks and balance system, but it also needs to be checks and balance amongst each other. You feel what I'm saying? Certain shit just not allowed. Certain shit just, we don't, it's just not allowed amongst the culture. It seems like everything that used to be counterculture back in the day or used to be frowned upon is now accepted nowadays, when back in the day that shit would never go on. That's what you call a checks and balance system. I'm getting a little bit off the topic of the spending power, but I feel like in order to be able to use that spending power properly, you gotta have the foundational level together first. If your foundation fucked up, then that 1.8 trillion spending power is just leaking through the cracks of your foundation. You feel me? So that's number one. Number two, you feel me? Yeah, I agree with the overall sentiment though. Number three, you feel me? I agree with the overall sentiment that we have, we definitely have spending power. We definitely spend money. People definitely, there's black people in Black America, people with jobs, you know what I'm saying? People that have decent jobs, good jobs, high paying jobs all across the spectrum. So, we definitely get money, you feel me? We spend money too, but we just not spending it in the right, in the right ways. We're not spending it amongst each other, we not, you know what I'm saying? We not, like I said, we not spending it the right ways, man. There's nothing else I can really say about that. You feel what I'm saying? The fact that he said, we would be like top 15 nation, you know what I'm saying? That's something I've been preaching, not online, but that's something I've been preaching in the world. Like we have a nation within the nation. We just not running it right. We just not, you know what I'm saying? We not running it right. You feel me? Certain shit, it's gonna take a big upheaval. You feel what I'm saying? It's gonna take a big uprooting, a big cleansing. And I don't think a lot of motherfuckers so stuck in their ways, man. I don't think they'll be able to get along or go along with the program, man. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna take such a drastic change, and from a 360 from what, you know what I'm saying, from what's going on, or 180 from what's going on. It's like, I think so many people so stuck in their ways, they're not gonna get on board with some of the shit that needs to be done. Because if you look at other communities, a lot of the shit we allow in our community, you would never see that shit go on in other communities. You would never see it. You feel me? Somebody said, I seen a video, somebody said something that kind of piqued my interest, man. He said, in all the certain strip clubs in certain major cities, like most of the dancers, the strip clubs be owned by certain demographics or certain race of people, but most of the dancers and the strippers in there is black. And I thought about that. I said, damn, I never thought about that simple example. It's like, these people would never let their daughters and their mamas and sisters, etc., you feel me, in these places and dance and strip in these places. I'm like, damn, but they own all the strip clubs. They own all the bars. So it's like, okay, I'm using that example to piggyback off the idea that certain shit that's allowed in our culture is just not allowed in certain cultures, or certain shit that's prevalent in our culture, it's not prevalent in other cultures. And it's not prevalent in other cultures because it's frowned upon in other cultures. You give me a check, go back to checks and balance. So, I'll piggyback or double back on this topic in another video, to make this short and sweet. But everything he was saying was right on. Everything he was saying was right and exact. You feel me? We just gotta clean in-house, but it's gonna take time. I mean, it shouldn't take as much time with all this technology, all this information at your fingertips. Really, if people wanted to change, they really should just make that change and change overnight. I mean, of course, people say it takes time, but that's a mentality thing, that's a mindset thing. But yeah, man, we got 1.8 trillion spending power, but we gotta use it the right way. You feel me? We gotta put that money to use in the right way. Build infrastructure. You feel me? Support each other businesses. You get what I'm saying? If somebody got this business, that business, we just funnel the money amongst the community. But that, like I said, you gotta get certain shit has to at a foundational level. We gotta get right. People gotta be right within, man. Because a motherfucker say they for the people, or they'll be in a coalition, and then they have a whole nother agenda, man. You feel me? It's too many Benedict Arnolds and Judases around this motherfucker, man. Too many snakes. So I don't know, man. You feel me? You never say never, but I'm just taking a realistic look, man. I think a lot of people, we might be too far gone at this point, man. Y'all get in the comments, don't let me know what y'all think.